Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Centurion's Review, the punk rock band of war game review institutions. It finally happened to me after 2 or 3 years of creating about 200 unboxing videos. I accidentally created an unboxing video today of a game I already made one of 2 years ago. The game was the Trojan War, so I posted the video and then I was going to link it on Board Game Geek, and I noticed that I'd already done one 2 years ago, so I pulled it down. It's embarrassing, but it happens, whatever. But anyhow, this is 8th Army Operation Crusader, the Winter Battles for Tobruk, 1941, from Game Designers Workshop. Got this at auction for a price I could afford. I don't really know much about it, so we'll learn about it as we go through the video. Throughout 1941, the British forces in North Africa suffered an unbroken string of humiliating defeats at the hands of Rommel's Afrika Korps. The Gilab Narrows were seized, Benghazi lost, Makili overrun, and Tobruk surrounded. 2 British counteroffensives were quickly stopped and then tumbled back into Egypt. By November, however, the British had massed the forces they believed were necessary to relieve Tobruk and destroy Rommel. Operation Crusader was ready, and says it's a battalion regimental brigade level game. It says playing time is 2 hours, number of players is 2, and complexity is basic. So it sounds like a simple game with long scenarios. Looks like it was created by Frank Chadwick. Alright, let's see what's in here. Alright, we have some counters here. They're half-inch counters. Looks like these are the British ones. Looks like the informational ones are two-sided. I think these could be the Germans, the green ones. Looks like some of those are two-sided too, a lot of the units. That's good. And not sure who these ones here are. But yeah, they look alright. I mean, standard NATO military symbols. This game's from like 1984, so that's about what I'd expect. And it includes a small dice. Here's a rule book. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's see what other goodies are in here. Here's the maps, or map. It's in 2 pieces. It's not paper and it's not cardstock. It's too thin to be cardstock and too thick to be considered a paper map, so it's somewhere in between. Looks alright. This is about what I'd expect for a 1984 map. Small playing area too, but it looks like it's a small game. Alright, now we have a player's aid here. It's got a bottom parts for the Allied player and the top parts for the Axis player. You got a supply and replacement point track. You can put your supply units there, air units, and remnants. And then you got a turn record track. Looks like it's, I don't know if it's keeping track of day and night there, or no, if the moon's out maybe? Interesting, I'm not sure. And over here for the Axis, it's got the same stuff. And there's a oh, that's for supply, not the moon. Another embarrassing thing. Yeah, supply and replacements, initial supply points. Alright, my bad. And there's a combat display. And you got a map legend up here. And a terrain effects chart and combat results table. Interesting, you can either get 1 hit or 2 hits. And it's got another one for the other player, so each player gets one. That's always a good idea. And this is really nice. If I would have known this guy apparently took notes when he was reading the rules. And that's what I do when I read rules, because I read so many rule sets, it's so easy to forget what you read that I write down all the main points on a piece of paper and throw it in the box, and then I review it when each time I play the game, because it's so easy to forget rules. But if I would have known this guy had already taken notes for me, I would have bid higher, even higher on this. But nice. Yeah, this is exactly the type of notes I do when I'm reading rules. Very nice. Alright, let's take a look at the rule book now. Starts off going over an introduction to what it's about, game components, and then sequence of play, which is what we're interested in. You have the initial phase. The phasing player receives supply points and new units and activates new supply units. Then you have an air phase. The phasing player allocates air units for attack or defense support and places them on the map, a movement phase, a supply phase, and a combat phase, and then it becomes the non-phasing player's turn, and they do all those steps too. So the rules are going over control of territory, ground unit movement, stacking. There's stacking limits. It's done by battalions in this. There's a certain... So the stacking limit is 4 battalions in a hex, units totaling blah, blah, blah. So it's four in a hex. All right, and then it's going over combat rules. Looks like there's probes in this and assaults. And going over fire resolution. And terrain effects on combat, and it's going over armor and anti-tank rules, along with movement after combat, and supply rules, and going over air power, and reinforcements, and then it's going over the setup. So you only have like 7 pages of rules. There's really no pictures in here or illustrations. So actually, yeah, no illustrations at all. So actually, if it had some illustrations, it probably would have been a 9 or 10 page rule set. But it shouldn't be too hard to get into the game. Seems like the rules are is a small rule set. All right, and notes here so you can learn more about the actual history. And what I like here, it's got pictures of all the counters in case you lose one, so you can drop one of your own. And on the back, it's got a unit identification chart. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please click like on it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel. And I'm selling used war games on my website, so check it out. The new one I'm putting up later today is the Trojan War. I've got 2 copies of it, so I'm selling the punch version and keeping the unpunched version. Have a good evening.